Am I the a-hole for telling my wife that my life would be better without her? My wife, Anne, and I have been married for 13 years. I am 43 and she is 46, and we do not have children. When we first began dating, nobody could make me happy like Anne. She always seemed to know exactly the right thing to say to me when I was down. But over the past decade or so, she has really started to show her true colors. And a lot of what her ex-husband said to me about her has begun to make more sense. For example, I have a very high-stress job. People bring me problems and I fix those problems. But when I get home, 9 times out of 10, Anne just has more problems to throw onto my plate. She doesn't work, so she's free to do anything she wants to solve said problems during the day. But lately, she has even begun making lists of things that she wants me to do after I work all day. But my biggest issue with Anne is that I can't ever really open up to her about anything. Whenever I talk about something bad that happened to me, she'll either try to one-up me or agree with the person who wronged me. Last Friday, I had a horrible day. There was an enormous problem at work that basically all fell on my shoulders to solve. When I was crossing the street after work, I had green signal and a bicycle blew through a red light and side-clipped me. The cyclist yelled expletives at me and then rode away. I thought about calling the police because it was technically a hit and run, but there was probably nothing they could do. When I got home desperate, I talked to Anne about what happened. She listened and then immediately took the cyclist's side. I reiterated that the cyclist ran through a red light, to which she responded that the cyclists aren't obligated to stop. When I told her she was wrong and tried to put the issue to rest, she began frantically Googling laws. She found that in our state they can treat lights like a stop sign. She began triumphantly reading the law to me loudly, word for word, getting louder when I kept trying to tell her that I wasn't interested. At the end of her spiel, she gave me this incredibly arrogant look as if she was right. I just stared at her for a second and said that my life would be better without her. She got incredibly upset, shrieked at me until her voice was hoarse, then packed a bag and left to stay with her parents. She has texted me all weekend demanding an apology, but I haven't responded. Did I do something unforgivable here? Sorry, but she sounds like a nightmare. There's nothing I hate more than after a long day at work, you come home and somebody's stressing you out. That would just throw me over the edge. Damn. She sounds terrible. Am I the a-hole for bursting out laughing when she told me what she brought to our relationship? I apologize for the mouthful of a title. I was trying to be as descriptive as possible. I, 25 male, have been dating my girlfriend, Jen, 24 female, for 9 months. 5 months ago, Jen lost her job when her company went under, and around the same time, she had a falling out with her roommate. She was in urgent need of housing by an awkward position with employment status, so she reluctantly asked if she could move into my house. I agreed because she had already spent the night several times, and she moved in under condition that she would begin looking for work to contribute. Now, back on our second day, when I asked Jen if she wanted to be exclusive, she responded by asking me what I would bring to a relationship with her. I answered as pragmatically as possible: a stable income, loyalty, companionship, willingness to compromise, and consistent attention to my appearance hygiene. I didn't really care much for the question at the time, so while she seemed mildly satisfied with what I said, I didn't ask her in return. I feel like I've held my end of the bargain, but after moving in, Jen only really looked for work about 2 weeks. She now spends the majority of her waking hours on Instagram, TikTok, and Netflix. I raised the issue with her indirectly before by asking how her job search was going, and she said nobody was hiring, which I find hard to believe. Well, yesterday in the evening, I finally hit my limit. Jen drank a bottle of wine that I was saving for a romantic evening date and spent the rest of her day screwing around on her phone after work. I sat her down and asked what she thought she brought to the relationship. Jen stared at me for a few seconds as if I had asked the dumbest question in the history of mankind. Then she erupted, frantically pointing at herself. Me, I'm the prize. From my perspective, this was coming from a woman who had just gotten day drunk of wine, watched Netflix, and ate all my food. I honestly couldn't contain myself, and I burst into laughter. Every time I looked back at her, she would give me this incredulous look while shrugging, which only made me laugh harder. Jen got really angry at me and let out this wailing shriek sort of sound. She stormed off to another room where I'm 100% sure she's just screwed around on the phone more. I haven't talked to her since. I feel like I might have gone too far here. Was I the a-hole? I feel like he was trying to get back at her for the dumb question she asked him. But at the end of the day, I mean, she'll find a job, hopefully. I would hope she would. Because at the end of the day, this man is just her boyfriend. It's not like he's her husband who's obligated to provide for her, you know? Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my boyfriend because he refused to hold his sister accountable for violating my privacy? I, 26 female, was with my boyfriend, Jake, 29 male, for 3 years. He's always been close to his older sister, Laura, 31 female, who has a history of wild behavior and poor decisions. From the start, I accepted that that was part of the package, but she's tested my patience countless times. She'd borrow my things without asking, show up unannounced, and once she even crashed on our couch for a week after an argument with her latest boyfriend. Jake would always excuse her behavior, saying she's trying her best or she's found me, so we should be patient. A couple of months ago, Laura crossed a line. I left my laptop while we had a small gathering at our apartment. While I was busy in the kitchen, she decided to snoop through my work files and discovered a confidential document I had been working on. Without asking, she took screenshots and shared parts of it on social media as a funny post, adding snarky comments. This document contained sensitive information related to a major project, and her post did serious damage to my professional reputation. I was horrified when I found out, but Laura just shrugged it off, saying, I shouldn't leave things lying around if they're that important. She thought it was hilarious and refused to take it down until I threatened to report the post. When I demanded that Jake back me up and set firm boundaries, he refused. He said I was overreacting and needed to give her a break. He insisted that yes, Laura was wrong, but family forgives, and I needed to let it go. It didn't matter to him that her actions had real consequences for my career. He was more worried about how this would make family gatherings awkward. I felt totally unsupported and betrayed. After weeks of arguing, I told Jake I couldn't stay with someone who couldn't even stand up for me when his sister was clearly in the wrong. He accused me of being cold-hearted and of putting my petty grudge over our relationship. I ended it, and now he's telling everyone I chose my career over love. Yeah, Pookie, love doesn't pay the bills, and clearly what you're doing is not love. Anyways, I hate people like this. This would just irritate me. Anyways, and that I'm abandoning him for something that's not even that serious. Even ruining her career is not that serious. Even his family has been reaching out, calling me selfish for not giving her room to grow. She's 31. What? But I can't shake the feeling that this was about more than just her mistake. It was about loyalty and respect. Am I the ill for earning it over this? Imagine you're only dating this for 3 years. You're just boyfriend and girlfriend. You can just leave it right now and move on with your life. Imagine you marry him. You have a couple of kids with him, and you're stuck with him for the rest of your life. Even if you guys get divorced, your children will be around that unresponsible, childish auntie. Your kids could be at home. It's just be so much to deal with. Just cut your losses. Like, sometimes I see people complain about the most, like, yeah, leaving a relationship, especially 3 years, a lot. 3 years is not today. 3 years is not 3 days. It's 3 years. And leaving a relationship with someone that you want to be with is hard. But at the end of the day, somebody who doesn't have respect for you, she chose our career over love. She needed to give my 31-year-old sister room to grow. What more growing does she need to do? She's 31. Yeah.